Hello everybody, it's Greg here. Welcome to Take It EV, episode 23. Today's episode I'm going to be looking back on our beautiful year 2020 and what has it done for the EV, the year of EVs as we used to pronounce it. Okay, I've got quite a long list. Just gonna go gently through it, but before I start, welcome to 2021. It is just me today. I have been trying to chase a couple of people down to get some co-host on the show because I feel like the dynamic of having two people talking to each other is a bit better than just me waffling on. But you know me, I like talking as well. I've got a few things to say, as always. So yeah, let's get started.
Take it easy.
So the new year has kind of started with quite a few news in 2020. I think on top we've got Hyundai and Kia announcing that they're going to have 11 new EV cars or EVs in general by 2025. Which is amazing. I mean, we know that they've actually later on announced a bit more specific goals. I think there was a talk of the 800-volt platform and, loads of amazing things. It kind of looks like, Kia e-Niro and Hyundai Kona Electric are just kind of like, them dipping the toes in the an Ioniq, obviously, as well. Sorry, I forgot about that. Them just dipping little toes. But we'll see what happens next. Next on the list we have Norway, who they've got so much gas and oil. Yeah, they're pushing heavily for electrification. Each time you hear somebody complaining about how your heating in a house or whatnot requires gas or some other form of burning fossil fuels, Norway's trying to prove that it is possible to have a carbon neutral future, and they've been just way ahead of any other country in Europe. So I commend them on that. So, yeah, that's Norway. Tesla did well in 2020 as well. They've increased their deliveries, quarter over quarter. Of course, we know now in 2021 that the last quarter was also quite big. So well done, new Tesla. I'm not going to talk about Tesla Model S in this, the new Tesla Model S in this episode, by the way. I think there's enough been said about it. We also had CES in 2020. I can't even remember whether it actually went ahead face-to-face or whether there was already... I think there were already restrictions in place by the time it happened. So, yeah, CES 2020, we had quite a few amazing things announced. Of course, the Nissan Araya concept, which, is now kind of scheduled to be in production in 2022, I believe. So, CCS plug and actually possibly active cooling and heating of the battery pack. Who'd know? Sadly for Nissan, it's probably a bit too late. I think they've got this whole concept of e-power platform, which is kind of a greenwash, if you ask me. It's what Toyota's been doing for quite a few years with their hybrids, with Prius, basically a serial hybrid. But better than never. And don't get me wrong, if it's a stopgap for the next couple of years before we hit 2030 and beyond, so be it. That's better than than having cars just burning fuel and running on the ICE engines. Speaking of Toyota, actually, it is it is bit of a shame that they're scathing the electrification as such, and they just they put all the baskets or the eggs in the hybrid basket. But the hybrids are actually, as far as the hybrids are concerned, they're very, very well engineered, very complicated, if you ask me. I don't think there's a need to have an episode about it, but yeah, well done, Nissan. I hope that car sells well, and I'm looking forward to actually seeing it in person. It looks amazing on the inside. I'm not a big fan of the exterior, but shockingly to everybody, Sony have showed up their concept car, electric car, in the I think it was at CES as well. It's a bit of a strange thing. I think Sony's just putting their fingers in too many pies these days, but well done on them. And I think they've announced recently that they might actually even consider releasing it as a fully fledged car. If it's going to be anything like the camera market, they're going to release a new car every 3 months, and it's going to be just little features added here and there. That's a joke for any people who are actually in the photo market, or if you're into photography, you'll know what I'm talking about. Ionity have kind of again increased their prices in 2020, which it's a I'm sure there's a reason behind it, but it's a rant for another episode. I believe all the OEMs and charging networks, they're going to try pushing or extracting more money out of us, basically. So now that they can and will try doing in the future, I think this is just a small step. Color me a pessimist, but I think this is where it's going. And I've been enough to enough conferences and shows where the OEMs are presenting their version of the future, where I can see that they're trying to have us pay more in subscription fees basically every month instead of owning things. I don't think that's the future we're all hoping for, but I think certainly that's where the manufacturers see the future. So we'll see who wins. Fiat has updated its E500. And if you haven't seen the episode with Johnny Smith of the Late Break Show and him reviewing the new Fiat, just go and have a look, because it's amazing. It looks like a nice little car. So Toyota, I haven't mentioned them already. They've continued on their usual BS about self-charging hybrids. Boo, boo, boo. Anyway, let's move on. This is skipping the well ahead to November, but Trump is out, and I know this isn't a political show, but if you're into sustainable technologies and you drive an EV and you believe that we need to transition over, and you voted for Trump, I mean, seriously, I suspect vast majority of my viewers or listeners, have not, and I'm glad he's out. This isn't a political show, but people like him are just, he's a small-minded, small-handed, such and such. I was actually considering putting this episode as an explicit and just do a lot of swearing, but I won't do that. If you hope for me to do that, if you hope for me to just be fully fledged, and open with such words, just tag me at TakeItEV, all one word, on Twitter, and let me know what you think. In fact, if you got to this point and you just want to tell me what you think, at TakeItEV on Twitter. Let me know. Thanks. Anyway, let's move on. Trump is out. Yay. I can't be like. I mean, actually, let me just carry on with my. So the dude is an utter idiot. Like, there's no. If anyone thought that there's any chance that he's going to do anything good for anybody, I mean, let's be honest. I think it's time for us to actually realize that we're voting for people, and people don't change that much. So if somebody's been an idiot, they're going to be an idiot. Some people have been trying to actually befriend him and actually do something good with him, like Elon Musk, our Lord and Savior. I don't think that went very well. He obviously had a massive negative impact on the entire world. In fact, I think quite a lot of companies have held back their electrification because of him, and now have pushed it back on because he's out. So, elections have consequences, and I think this is a very good one for the entire world, not just the US. And, can we get the toxic people in charge of the UK out now? That's a subject for another rant. Speaking of which, actually, UK government has announced the ban of sales of new fossil fuels cars in 2030. It's a nice gesture. I have my reservations when it comes to the UK government. I've lived in this country long enough to kind of know what's what, and it's a nice gesture. I'll just leave it at that. Their deeds have not been forgotten, and I don't think that their hearts are in the right place yet. But at least this kind of message tells OEMs to get their ducks in a row, and I think they've already seen the writing on the wall. So I'll commend you for doing that. But we'll see how it goes. Basically, 2030 is still 9 years away. GM has announced that the future is electric, and I mean, great. They've also said, I can't remember who exactly, whether it was their CEO, that they can't just produce a vaporware, and they actually have to commit to it properly. Again, whether it's because they saw the writing on the wall with the presidential elections and that was a funny Freudian slip. If I had a co-host, this would turn into a joke. Anyway, if you haven't heard it, just skip back about 30 seconds. I think that's amazing. I mean, I wish all OEMs, were like, we need to commit to this openly, and just say, don't just have secret projects out in the back. Just say it out loud. Like just say it basically. I mean, it's still very hard to negotiate getting an electric car when you walk into a random garage. You'd still get steered away from buying an electric unless you go to I believe VW garage these days is fairly pro EVs. Obviously, they want to push their new ID3s and so on, which I'll get to in a second, actually. So, customers have started receiving their Porsche Taycans, and apart from some mad, daft people in Kent, a couple of in Kent, who've ordered theirs, and they failed to charge it and thought they're going to do 190 or whatever miles round trip, driving very fast. I think by all accounts, most people actually seem to be very, very happy with them. So I actually haven't had a chance to drive one, but I saw one. We have a garage nearby where they have quite a few of them, and new funky rapid chargers. If you haven't seen one, go and visit your local Porsche garage and have a look, because they look very, very nice. I think they can go up to 350 kilowatts, and they obviously can deliver 800 volt, which is not a major achievement, but it's the fact that it's a platform that's been designed to rapid charge very quickly. Actually, rapid charge. That's very again, for the first EV. I think that's that's an amazing achievement, and I'm looking forward to seeing what next comes out of Porsche, because I hope they're not going to sit on their hands like, Jaguar and Land Rover with the I-Pace. It's been out for quite a few years now, and nothing has come out since, other than quote-unquote clean diesel, which is bollocks, basically. Let's just put it that way. Anyway, moving on the list. Electric Hammer. We got a sneak peek of that, and whilst I don't have a problem with my bits, so I don't need one. But if you do, if you're in the market for one, I think having an electric one is going to be quite a fun. There's a lot of the EV sales have increased massively in the last year. I don't have the right figures in front of me. I was trying to get them out of quite a few people, but there has been an increase in the UK, obviously, because of the whole situation with the pandemic. What have you heard about that? Strangely enough, the ICE sales have actually dropped down, and the EV sales have increased, which, again, amazing. Whether it's because the EV owners are a bit more stubborn and they've been waiting a bit longer and they've been a bit more excited, whereas the people owning ICE cars are generally not as fussed, and so if their income has been put at risk, they'd rather just wait. I don't know what the underlying social economic circumstances are, or whatever you call it. But it's a good upward trend. Obviously, the whole Rona situation has put a bit of a dump on the 2020 being the year of EVs, but I think it's been amazing still. So, it's still when it comes to EV sales, the dealerships I think are still number one problem, and that hasn't changed. It will take OEMs pushing for the sales of EVs for that to change. Let's be honest. Even cars like the one that I own now, Kia Niro, it's a tiny little blip on the radar of Kia and Hyundai, but they're going there. Like I mentioned before, they've announced quite a major shift, and they've been very good at producing very efficient and very reliable EVs. So I'm certainly happy to own one. So in the UK, because I know I've got international listenership, I hopefully have not offended anybody from the US yet. Not my intention the slightest. But in the UK, National Express, which is like a bus service that if you want to take a bus from London to, say, I'll just give a random example, Glasgow or Edinburgh. National Express is usually the bus you would take on that route. I don't know whether they're privately owned or not. Anyway, doesn't matter. They've announced that they're gonna stop buying diesel buses and commit to buying electric ones, which is amazing. Of course, the whole fleet, it will take a while before the whole fleet has transitioned over, but there's certainly electric buses of their standards and needs on the market now that can be bought and utilized for the service. So it's great. It's great to hear, National Express. Volvo has announced electric lorries, essentially, or big rigs, or semis. I haven't seen one yet in person in Europe or in the UK, but I'm certain they're around. So, well on you, well done, Volvo. There's don't know how to put it mildly. I know I have some people listening who work for oil companies in one of their kind of external, parts. And I'm certainly not a fan of the the greenwashing essentially. What else can you call a company, a massive oil company, without naming names, buying a major electric charging network and plastering that fact all over the ads and such, yet still kind of being bad. Let's be honest. It's one of those things, like with voting. If the culture is not going to change, nothing's going to change. So, yeah. What I was trying to say is that in 2020, a lot of oil companies announced that they will meet their emission targets by 2050. I think that's a bit too late, isn't it? I mean, someone should tell them that there might be a problem with that. I bet they're all waiting for hydrogen to become a thing. Nobody tells them that the physics doesn't work very well with hydrogen. Everyone knows my thoughts on hydrogen. I mean, my thoughts. Hydrogen has been the thing of the future since I was little, so, and that was a while ago. I'm a middle-aged man now, so go figure. Sales of the kind of like mentioned, actually worldwide, have sales of cars have dropped, but the average percentage of EVs sold, not just in the UK, have actually gone up. So that's not a bad thing. Speaking of which, because we, a lot of us were in lockdown or the travel has been restricted, the good old planet had a good breathe. Good of a breather because of that, and loads of amazing things have happened. A lot of flora and fauna has been restored in kind of naturally in a lot of places in the world, and like the George Carlin used to say, the planet's going to be alright. It's us that are beeped. It's not that I don't think we should be taking care of the planet. We should be taking care of ourselves. Because that's essentially the problem. The planet's going to be fine, even after we're gone as a human species. Lucid have shown their production-ready car. I mean, they've been quite busy. It's one of those companies I've never thought of when writing the show and talking on Twitters. Because I'm quite active on Twitter, so I don't know if you noticed. But the Lucid is one of those companies that have been quietly doing things in the background. Unlike Tesla, who are like to be flashy and kind of, bit too PR heavy in their tweets, especially Elon's tweets. Lucid have been kind of quietly doing a lot of good things in the background. So I'm actually looking forward to seeing their cars on the roads, because I think they look amazing, and they certainly seem to be a bit more spacious and much more efficient than Tesla, and obviously, hopefully, will be a lot cheaper. Ferrari, have you heard that name before? I mean, I haven't thought of them in a while. The car that can do about 150 miles to the tank, breaks down quite often, overheats a lot. That car, it makes a lot of noise, and still slower than Tesla. Don't tell them. And Porsche Taycan. They still said that the EVs are not the future. All right. We in the UK, I know this is like a little thing, but in the UK we have green license plates for EVs now, for pure electric cars, not PHEVs and such. To kind of distinguish yourself. I know this is a bit politically incorrect statement, but I still kind of like it to kind of separate, boys from men. I've actually got myself green license plates. It's not that expensive. You can get it for under £20 if you want to fit it. If you can fit it yourself, which is about an hour and a half out of your life to do it properly. Highly recommend. Well, on the kind of down notes, Tesla Battery Day. I was looking forward to it for a while, and I was kind of hoping that they're gonna, overwhelm us. But I don't know about you guys, but I don't know, I felt a bit disappointed. Loads of flashy numbers, loads of little incremental changes and improvements, but it wasn't as amazing as everyone was hoping. It wasn't a breakthrough necessarily. And as far as the maintenance and I can't say the word, ability to repair your car, I'll just say it. And you can imagine the word I was struggling to say. I think that's a downgrade, if you ask me personally. Everyone's talking about recycling of batteries, but the 3 R's are reuse, recycle, and with each one of these steps is kind of the next step is always kind of orders of magnitude less important. So reduce. Obviously, we need to reduce the amount of crap that we consume and that we need. That's that starts with us not having to buy a car every 3 years. I mean, it's very hard with EVs because things change so quickly. But I, for one, do hope that my next EV is going to be a second-hand one, so I don't have to buy a new one again. But we'll see. But where I was going with this is the fact that if you haven't heard about what Tesla have done is, amongst the other things, they've reduced the size of the cells in terms of the footprint that the cell takes for the amount of power you get out of it. I mean, obviously the cells are actually bigger. I know some people have said that out loud and are screaming at me, but the density has increased as the result of reducing the amount of stuff that is padded around the each individual cell. The trouble with that is because the Tesla is going to fuse or make the battery basically part of the structural element of the chassis. That's going to not even reduce. That's going to eliminate ability to service the battery pack, and that's going to completely destroy the ability to reuse those cells, which is the second R. Never mind recycling, because everyone's on about recycling, but recycling is actually quite expensive process for anything, and a lot of things we throw out or we put in a recycling bin doesn't get actually recycled. Strangely enough, so reducing things is more important than recycling. Orders of magnitude more important, and I'm afraid this is a bit of a. I mean, Tesla Model 3 has already, and Model Y. If you look at that battery pack, it's basically loads of cells that are ganked in, or they're all kind of I don't know if it's a resin or a glue, but they're all immersed in the in a glue essentially, so you can't get individual cells out easily and reuse them. So that's already been a bit of a downer. Of course, they all think, or the message is that that you're not going to have to do anything to the battery pack because it's going to last a million miles. The trouble is, a lot of cars don't make it to the millionth mile for various reasons, and again, it would be nice to be able to reuse those on the second-hand market or put them in the battery storage solutions, which Tesla is still struggling to meet the demand. And they've actually increased the prices, which is just bonkers if you ask me. The trend should be the other way around, but Tesla is still a brand for wealthy, top however many % of people out there. And I know Model 3 kind of lowered the bar, but it's still a brand that puts off loads of people either because of the sticker price or because of the unusual appearance and kind of flashiness. So anyway, going back to the Tesla Battery Day, I don't think it was as amazing as we would like to think. I mean, Tesla's all about the sort of the Elon's generated PR and optimism. But if you look into it kind of with your sober mind, I don't think it was as great as we were hoping. But we'll see what they come up with in the next couple of years. Dyson, the little company in Britain that produces vacuum cleaners, it they've been working it was an open secret that they've been working on an electric car, and they had to cancel that program because it turns out that the car would have been very expensive, and I don't know. I think Dyson's not a cheap brand again, so does it surprise anybody that the first car that they would start producing would be very expensive? By very expensive, it would be basically Model S, top range Model S sticker price. I don't know. But no tears have been shed for Mr. Dyson at the Take It EV studios for various reasons. And I think this is going to be a fairly short episode. I just wanted to list a couple of things that kind of stuck in my mind as the things that have happened in 2020. Oh, the last thing that everyone, when I asked people on Twitter, everyone kind of mentioned the fact that we now have a very kind of, I don't know how to describe it in a couple of words, in a nice way. You know how you've got these garages when you can drive up and fill up your tanks with petrol or diesel or whatever. We now kind of have an equivalent of a charging hub in the UK, and in Essex, which is the first one of its kind. They've announced quite a few of them in the future. If you haven't seen it, I'll if I don't forget, I'll put a description in, or I'll put a link in the description in this episode. But now we have one of them in the UK, which is amazing because some other countries in Europe actually had similar kind of things for quite a while. But basically, you're able to drive up and you don't have to worry about it being iced, because there's a separate car park for ICE vehicles. You don't have to. More importantly, you don't have to worry about it being PHEV'd because they've got their own Type 2 chargers on the site. So you can just drive up to your rapid charger, plug it in, and go in and have a cup of tea, coffee, lunch, whatever. Obviously, when we're allowed to go out again, which hopefully we will by the end of next month. Fingers crossed. Anyway, this was a bit of a rapid fire session, but I just wanted to kind of mention a couple of things that stuck in my head as the amazing things that have happened in 2020. I think overall for the EVs, it was a positive year. It wasn't as great as we were hoping for, but we're at the sort of the bottom trajectory of the bottom end of the hockey stick when it comes to EVs. By this time next year, there's going to be things are going to happen. And if you're still listening to me, again, @TakeItEV on Twitter and let me know, because actually I forgot quite a few amazing things that kind of touched me as well personally in life. So Kia, the new Kia e-Niro model year 2020, the trim 4 and 4 Plus has started shipping in the UK in 2020. Me being one of the people who've actually got one, and 7,000 miles on. We're very happy with the car. Doesn't do 280 miles on a charge. We can do about 220 to 40, depends on how we drive. But that's amazing. And the car is flawless. The only thing we had to actually change or had to get done in that car is the charging flap, but that seems to be an issue on many Kia e-Niros. And ID3 was out. People actually started taking delivery of ID3, VW ID3. It's the reception has been mixed. I've been in a lot of forums and groups. I'm trying to kind of sneak myself in and kind of lurk in the shadows. By all accounts, most people are actually quite happy with them. It's a first generation, so there's issues. There've been a couple of problems. A couple of owners have reported an issue with the with the software or some other minor things. what seems to be the most prevailing problem, and this is one of those ironically happens for all EVs kind of type of thing, is that the auxiliary battery, the 12-volt battery under the bonnet usually, those seem to be failing quite a lot for ID3. And I don't know what it is about EVs, but I can go into a bit more description or the details of why we need still a secondary battery in the it's a bit of a chicken and egg thing. Actually, if you're still listening to me now, and this episode has only been 30-something minutes long, you need the auxiliary battery because the battery pack, the main high-voltage battery, has a lot of security features built in, and usually there's a solenoid or a contactor inside that won't engage, meaning that the external contactors on the battery are not going to have the high voltage on them unless the battery pack itself internally switches it on. What it needs to switch on and conduct all the safety tests is a bit of voltage, basically. There's of course solutions for that, but the easiest solution for now seems to be just to have a 12-volt auxiliary battery, which you need for other things in the car to do that stuff. The trouble is, it seems to be either the cycles it goes through, the patterns of use are different than they would be in the ICE car. And in the ICE car, the auxiliary battery is basically, its main job is to start the engine. The crank, the starter, which requires a lot of power to do. But that's an event that usually just happens once when you drive, or if you have a start-stop car, it will happen more often. But it's still not the same pattern as the EVs or battery electric vehicles would have. So whether it's just the fact that OEMs have been putting the smaller batteries rather than the bigger, because the bigger batteries are available for a 12-volt battery, or whether it's the fact that the whole recharging of its system has not been optimized for the BEV use. I don't know. Nobody will tell me if I ask them, because people who work for OEMs are certainly not going to be telling me how these things behave, or they just don't know, because there's one or two engineers somewhere working for a Ford or VW who know these things, and the rest of the company has no idea, which is fair enough. But it's funny that it's one of those things that seems to be failing for ID3. It was an issue for Kia as well. We had loads when it got cold. We got loads of warnings coming from the UVO app, telling us that our auxiliary batteries are a bit low on charge. Which again is strange, because there's a circuitry in the car that will trickle charge it when the car is parked. So why not just do it? I don't know. Again, I don't understand. Kia have actually came out and said that the UVO or the onboard system has been a bit too happy to report an issue when there isn't one. We'll see. Hopefully, when there's more EVs out there, this issue will be ironed out, because it is a bit ironic that the car fails to start or reports an issue with the smallest battery it has on board. But there we go. Anyway, that's the show for today. Hopefully that satisfies your Take It EV needs for the next month or so. I've got quite a lot of things coming up in my own private life, so so hopefully it won't be long before you get the next episode, but at the same time it might be a month or so. So just brace yourself. As always, I would like to thank for anyone who subscribed, and if you have been listening to up to this point, you're amazing. Please go to iTunes or any other podcast catchers and give us 5 stars or an equivalent. In Overcast, that will be there's a little star that you can tap on the episode that kind of tells other people that you've enjoyed this. Subscribe. I've got nearly 1,000 followers on Twitter, and I've got a couple hundred subscribers to this episode, to this podcast. It would be lovely to have to reach the 1,000 subscribers of this episode. It would certainly help me. if you have means to do so, it's absolutely up to you. Just support us on Patreon. I had quite a few people removing their support in the last year because of the coronavirus and all the sort of issues, which I absolutely understand. This is by no means a money making exercise for me, and it was never intended to be. This is just a way to kind of communicate and do my own thing. I like talking to people, and I like communicating. That's my passion. But please have a look at the Patreon. There's a link in the description again. We've got t-shirts and hoodies for sale. There's just a couple of quid from each sale that makes it my way. So have a look at those. And if you have any issues with that, or if you have any comments, suggestions, write to me, takeitev@gmail.com, or again, Twitter is the best way, @takeitev. And I'm probably not going to edit this episode very much, so this is just going to come out as it is. But I would like to thank people from Cognitive Dissonance Podcast for providing me with snippets and kind of funny jokes that I've written and submitted for them, that they would read out in some episodes as a sort of plug or an insert, as they call it in the business. You might hear that from time to time, so I would thank them very much. And if you enjoy, if you want to listen to a funny episode where two guys are making fun of the cuckoo people out there in the world and their writings and such, Cognitive Dissonance could be one that I suggested. I can suggest. Sorry, another one would be Hey Scoops or Martin Glee's Ice Cream Social. They're very good people and a very good community, and I would like to thank them for support as well. They've been amazing to me. Anyway, that's it. Take it easy, guys.